Hi there, I'm Serge,
And I'm Ray.
and we're talking today about where all the wood comes from when it comes to woody biomass storage. We talk about using waste wood to bury and to take out of the environment so that we can take carbon dioxide out of the environment as well. And there are a few different places where the wood comes from. Ray, why don't you start?
Happy to, Serge. The one closest to my heart is the beetle kill. I live in Colorado, and there's an enormous amount of beetle kill in the otherwise healthy forests. And as you can see, as we walk over here, it is not of use for timber, and we typically will cut this out of the forest and leave it lying. This is a big one for the state of Colorado and other states in the West.
Another one, I'll take a turn, is from wildfires. A lot of wildfires don't burn so hot that the wood is completely destroyed. Instead, there's a char around the edge of the forest or around the edge of the tree, and it's not good for commercial use. But what we can do is we can remove those trees and bring them for woody biomass storage. And the other good thing about it is the fire actually dries out the trees. And that kind of does our job for us, because if we keep the wood dry, it decomposes a lot less quickly.
Serge, I'm glad you brought up the wildfire damaged trees, because it's actually wildfire mitigation that is really taking off in the forest. The Forest Service, the national agencies are funding an enormous amount of fire mitigation. And what they do is they go in and they take healthy forests and they will thin them in areas so that there's a fire break. They'll typically get lumber companies to come in and take the good lumber, but they don't take the remains, the branches, the smaller stuff. They leave it in what's called slash piles. And those slash piles will sit in the forest. The typical way to deal with those slash piles is they'll wait till a certain part of winter or when it's really wet, and they'll go in and they'll just burn them, which just puts the carbon directly into the atmosphere in the fastest way possible. So what we want to do is we want to go intercept those slash piles before they're burned, and we'll bring them to the pits. And instead of an immediate release of carbon, we'll store it underground and store it for 100+ years.
All right, I'll talk about one more, which is that people in a neighborhood have a dead tree, or out in the forest, they'll have a dead tree, they'll cut it down, they don't know what to do with it, and essentially what they'll do is they'll take it to the landfill indirectly. What often happens in a municipality is the wood gets collected at a thing called a transfer station. And the transfer station is a place where all this wood is accumulated on the way to a landfill. No one wants to put raw wood in a landfill because it takes up valuable space. It's very expensive. And it also decomposes pretty fast. And the worst thing about it is it can generate a lot of methane. And so a place we would get wood is simply go to the transfer station, pick it up, bring it to our burial site, and keep it from decomposing for a much longer period of time. Do you have any more?
What comes to mind, particularly spawned by your comment about the transfer station, is construction waste. You know, what we look for is untreated wood. So as long as it's pure wood, we can bury it. We don't want to put anything that's unhealthy into the soils. So think a 2x4, untreated. There's scrap pieces at the result of every construction site there's ever been. So we would look for that as a source of woody biomass that we could bury and store the carbon, rather than however they dispose of it today.
Excellent. Well, there you have it. The wood that we bury is about unmerchantable, liability biomass, waste wood, stuff that would be used, not be used in some other way, even in fact would very likely be burned, putting CO2 back into the air right away. And there you have it from Walsenburg and Levita, Colorado.